Oh, ay, ay, oh, eh, oh, ah, oh, ay, ay, oh, ay, ay, oh, eh, oh, when you're
Good morning. I'm just in here trying to get Ruth together. You know, she's already started and we haven't even started. So, God morning. Welcome back. We are so excited that you've joined us on another Monday. We're excited to be here because God woke us up. And, of course, we're going to jump right in with our morning meditation, morning magic with our guru, Ruth. Go ahead, Ruth.
Our morning centering.
Yes.
And I want you to take a look at me. Do I look like a lady who would create any kind of problem?
No.
Okay, so, all right. So this is another wonderful morning that God has blessed us with. And we just want to take a breath in right now and allow ourselves to center in and know that the idea of being all that God is ever present because we are that God is. We accept and know that today this show will be our greatest show because they're all great, created out of the mind of God. We know that the questions that will be asked today will answer questions that people are asking all across the world. We know that we are blessed to have our guests come all the way from Bakersfield. And we know that this trip was made in the divine time that God gave her for these words to come forth. Father, pray for my co-host, Precious. This I accept and know in your name, and so it is.
And so it is.
Okay, because see, I truly be trying to do the right thing. But this young lady, I don't know.
That's my buddy. I love you. I love you. I'm excited about today's show. We're going to be talking about authenticity today. One of my favorite subjects, keeping it real, 100
keeping it real.
as the kids say.
That's right.
And it's going to be a great segue for our guest that's going to come on later in the show. Her name is Mona Lisa. She's an author of the book Behind the Makeup. So I'm excited to have her on today, and she can share with us what she's learned and what she knows. So let's jump right in. Ruth, how was your weekend?
Weekend was fabulous.
Okay.
As always, you know, I love the fact that McDonald's turned their M's up to W's
Hey,
and saluted
throw
the
up the
women
W.
because this is National Women's Month.
Celebrate
and
the woman.
It's also a month that people want to know about the history of everything that goes on with women. So if you are with a group, have a conversation, talk about some things that have happened, life-changing for you so that you can change lives. Be that woman that we know we all are. Also, I was in Lemur Park, and I know everybody knows Sika in Lemur Park.
Absolutely.
And he had an event this weekend, and the women were there. They were making jewelry, they were talking, they were networking, and I want to see more of those types of things going on in our community. I think that we, as women, need to learn authentically to love each other more and to not judge or look around and say, well, she's not like me. Because if we were all alike, wouldn't the world be crazy?
Boring.
But what we are alike in is raising our children, knowing about the love of God, knowing how to work with our families, and knowing that everything that we've done, whether people thought it was good, bad, or ugly, it was authentic, given to us by God.
Yes.
Because had we not lived that life, we wouldn't be sitting here today.
Ain't that
you
the
know?
truth?
So
That's
I
the
think
truth.
that this weekend was fabulous. I look good.
Yes, you
as
do.
always.
Yes, you do.
And we're getting ready for our women's event on March 24th, so I'm excited about that. We'll talk about that later.
Yes.
But it was a fabulous weekend, and I had time to meditate, to get centered, to get cleared, and to know that this is the day that the Lord has made, and I'm rejoicing and I'm glad in it. Hey, now, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
That's right. That's
Getting us going. I had a really good weekend, Ruth. My sister and I in our salon, we've been supporting a village, a group of girls in a village in Ghana. And in Africa. And last year we did a drive and we gathered enough books to build their library. And we were also able to collect monies to send the containers over with toiletries for the girls and some lights for the village. And this year we've decided to send 100 girls to school. It costs $60 to send one schoolgirl, one child to school for a year. And so we've committed to sending 100 girls through our salon. And in 2 days, we raised enough funds to send 30 girls to school.
Okay, so can I cut in right here for a sec?
Please do, yes.
I want to cut in right here for a sec because at the event on March 24th, it is a free event, but we will have donation baskets. One will be set up exclusively to assist in getting those girls to school. So I want you women to come out and be willing to share not only your thoughts, ideas, and your spirit, but some of your funds so that some of these projects that we're doing can get off the ground. Yes. So I'm really excited for it. Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited for those girls, to be able to assist in the process. It's an honor. It's a blessing. And we do ask no loud money, even if it's just $1, something that we can easily deposit and transfer over. The organization that we're assisting is Bridge to Africa Connection Incorporated. But if you'd like to send a donation, you can contact us via email at ladydivine73@yahoo.com. Okay. Again, that's lady, L-A-D-Y, divine, D-I-V-I-N-E, 73@yahoo.com. It is truly a blessing. We are amazed by the people that are just willing to support. Even if you just give $1, and we're going to go beyond our commitment to support those 100 girls for a year. The monies that we have been sending, it feeds the group that we are assisting. But then there are other children that are sitting right there with them and they can't eat lunch. So the teachers will go in their pockets and pull out money and buy them yam chips, something so that the children can be nourished. It's just not in my spirit to be able to feed a group of girls as they sit next to another group of girls that are hungry. So we are committed to supporting that village. Again, the organization that we are supporting is Bridge to Africa Connection Incorporated. Okay, so if anybody wants to check that out, you can also go to their website and donate directly. Okay, so giving, being of service, just like Ruth, we have this in common. We love to be of service. I live for it. That is how God speaks to me.
Well, that's part of our authentic purpose.
That is.
The way that I find that you live your greatest life is in being of service.
Yes.
And being of service can be a small thing. It could be a simple hello. It could be a smile. I saw a lady yesterday and she was on the bus stop and she was packing her clothes and she was saying, I just got to let it out. I said, I hear you, girl. I said, because sometimes we all got to let it go. She said, and sometimes people need to just stop and listen to us and hear what we're saying. I said, well, what you want to talk about? Right. And she told me all her little stuff and she packed her little stuff up. And I was like, it's been great talking to you. She just wanted somebody to hear her voice because she was homeless and going through some stuff. Now, I don't even know what the whole conversation was about because at some point, I couldn't understand her.
Right.
It wasn't what I understood. It was that someone stood there and listened to her and she told me, thank you. Authentic means being aware of the person that's sitting next to you. Don't be so caught up in the things that you're doing or who you think you are that you don't notice and look. Sometimes you could look at someone and they can be all dressed up and looking beautiful. But if you look at their eyes, you just look at their body language and you could tell, something's going on, the true self. So, and then you say, hey, how you doing? And they smile and all of a sudden it begins to shift and they know that they have an ear to hear them if they need it. And we as women, sometimes we do some cold-blooded stuff to each other because we get caught up in who we think we are, our superior attitude about what I'm doing or, and we forget that we could be that same woman sitting over there homeless because a lot of times things can happen in an instant. Catastrophic illness, anything can happen in an instant. And we're so sometimes judgmental about what we think we're seeing. And my thing is, look beyond what you think you're seeing and see what God is really showing you. Because if you look, then you will understand what's really going on. And women, we've got to learn to love each other a lot more because we sometimes let certain circumstances separate us. We let words separate us. We want our wishes and our desires sometimes separate us, and we're not allowed to be our authentic self because we think that we have to be a certain way to represent or to get the eye on us that we want on us or to attract the money. But it's really about being who you are. And, I try to live true to that. I've been wearing blonde hair since I was 18 years old.
That's you.
And let me tell you,
you might have had a little blonde curl on your head when you popped out.
I probably did because my grandmother did. But listen, I have always been this person, and people have always looked at me in different ways. But guess what? I tell them it's my halo.
That's
that
right.
God granted me this blonde hair so that you can see the angelic light in me.
That's right. Well, authenticating is a process.
I'm authenticating it.
Authenticating is a process that I embark on with my clients in my coaching. I get them to, I assist them in the process of identifying the true self. Most people are walking around the version of self that you were taught to be. You were told this is success. You were told this is what's good. This is what's bad. This is who you love. This is how you wear your hair. You know, I was raised in a family by a matriarch, my grandmother, that came from the South. So, you know, we have a lot of you shoulds. You know, a woman should. You know, I was taught for a long time I had to wear pantyhose to church, and I hate pantyhose.
Well, you got a pair on now.
No, I don't do them. If you're going to burn them, invite me. But if I got to wear them, don't invite me. You know, I hate pantyhose. But back to authenticating, it's about identifying the true self. In order to do that, you have to be still. You have to be able to feel your own vibration without the noise, without the energy, without the stimuli of another thing. Just sit and be with God and remember who you are, who you were born to be. You know, tap into not what the trend is, but what is the inclination? What is welling up inside of you of how you want to give expression to this self? How do you want to go about in life? What's going to bring you the greatest measure of joy? And joy meaning peace. Not excitement, but true joy, true happiness, peace. What is going to bridge that gap between who you are and who you were born to be? That's the process of authenticating.
Well, what I saw on TV this weekend and what I live by is journaling. You know, after the meditation, do some journaling and do some visualization. So they had a young girl on American Idol this weekend, and she came out and they said, "What's that board you have with you?" And she said, "This is my vision board." She said, "I started when I was 3 years old. She was 16. She said, and on her vision board in the middle, she said, sing, go to American Idol, and get the gold ticket."
And she's doing it.
And she did it. You see, and we have to be able to...
Did she put winning on the board?
She sure did. Yeah, she had winning right under getting the gold ticket. And you got to remember that we do have to be authentic. So in meditating, allow yourself so that you can open up and really hear what Spirit is telling you. And then have a pencil available so that as you come out of the meditation, whatever comes to you, it may not make sense to you when you're writing it.
But it will later.
But later on it will. Many times, you know, when you're journaling, it doesn't mean you're like, why am I writing this? What is it saying?
Later.
And then later on you look back and you go, wow, that was the golden key. That was the golden ticket.
Yes.
And then begin to vision, being authentic. There is nothing that you desire that you can't have or be.
Right.
So as you create the vision, what you're doing is you're shifting the energy within you so that you become, as they say, the thing itself.
Right.
You know, and you have to really see yourself being everything that you want, because in order for me to see Precious as a host, I have to be able to see her qualities, and she shows them when she comes on the show. So we have to be the thing itself so that when people see us, they know who they're meeting. You know, it's just like if you go for a job interview or anything where you're going to have to speak for yourself, think about the words that you're going to say. Think about the group of people that you're going to meet up with, and then go into meditation and walk out like I do and say, I'll be the pretty one and let God do the talking. Because when I go within and I allow the Spirit of God to work through me so that conversation comes out right, that's when things come out not just right, but superiorly perfect. As they say, it hits the sweet spot, because then I've allowed God to do the work. And remembering that of myself, I can do nothing. But the Spirit that dwells within does the work. So when you can learn to be quiet, be still, and just allow God to speak with you. And I know people say, well, he don't talk to me. He talks.
Oh, yeah. You got to learn how
God
to listen.
speaks, but you got to be a listener.
You have to learn how to listen. I'm really, it still surprises me when I meet people who have gone the majority of their life and they don't know who they are. You know, they think they might be bakers masquerading masquerading as bankers. They might be teachers masquerading as, something else.
For the money.
It's for the money. Quincy Jones, I have to keep going back to this in his tell-all interviews. He says something that was profound. When the topic or the focus is money, God leaves the room.
That's right.
In order for you to find out who you truly are, you can't be money focused, money driven. Now, here's the beautiful thing about that. The money will come.
It flows like a river.
It just flows right
like
in.
A river.
And matter of fact, the more focused you are, the greater the flow.
The greater the flow.
So, the process of authenticating, it's really like the biggest pain relief you could ever have. Yeah. And then once you identify who you are, be unapologetic about it. You don't owe an explanation for the evolution of who you are. That's between you and God. And the beautiful thing about God is that it is God's will for us to have free will.
That's right.
Now, our free
will. He gave us free will.
He gave it to us. But our free will is not to be confused with the will of God. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the beautiful thing. You can will yourself into the situation of your vision, and everything can be opposite of what you thought it was. It's a beautiful thing. It allows you to hone in on what you really want. You think you want this house in this neighborhood with this kind of driveway. Manifested that before, and everything on the inside of the walls was falling apart. So what I learned to identify was it wasn't the house. It was the peace inside of the walls that I was looking for. And so now I'm much more intentional and mindful about the manifestations, my visions.
One of the things I talk about in my book is the fact that we don't see the plan. We always try to create it. So what happens is, when I was a little girl, I used to love writing, and I used to like getting up in front of people and doing play acting and talking and all this kind of stuff. And then as I would go along, when I was in school or something, I had a teacher who said that she wanted me to be more extroverted. She wanted me to be out there more. So every time they'd have to do a speech, she would say, Ruth, you get up and you do the talk. I had to do all the introductions, all of this. So I used to say, I don't want to do this. But what it did is, as I move along and think about it, it prepared me for now. But it's sometimes the little things that you do that you don't pay attention to, the little things that you take for granted. Like, you might like to sew when you're a little girl and you say, I just like to sew. But you might be a great designer, because you see, God, you're born with a gift.
Right.
And what happens is, we're so busy caught up in what the world describes and says that we should be doing that we don't pay attention to the gift. Right. So I was having a conversation with my son the other night, and when he was a little boy, my oldest son wanted to play the saxophone. We got it for him, but he really didn't connect with it. So we came home one night, and my other son was sitting there. He says, Mommy, look what I can do. And he picked up the saxophone, and he's running. We're like, where did this music? When? Who knew? And listen, he now is doing another business. So I had a conversation. I said, so when's the last time you picked up the saxophone? And he said, you know what's so funny? I thought about buying one the other day. Because God. In his heart is his music. And you see, God he always will tweak you a little bit. He'll tap you on your shoulder and say, hey, did you remember when you did this or you did that? So remember who you are. Right. And how do we do that? We go into meditation and we allow God to speak to us, and he opens up those doors. Be still and know, which is what we're going to do right now.
Yes. But before we go into our break, we're going to, if we could please, we have our Women's Day event coming up March 24th. There you go. Healing Day for women. Please come on out. Celebrate yourselves. Celebrate your sister friends. And let's just come together. It costs you nothing. Right, Ruth? It's a free event.
This is a free event. It's going to be at the California Jazz Museum. What we are asking is that you donate. We're going to donate back to the Jazz Museum, because Barbara Morrison, with her fabulous self, is allowing us to go into the museum and have the event there. If you haven't been over there, please go by and get a look at it. We're also going to donate to the village that Precious is working with, and we have some other things that the money will be going out. So please come out, ladies. You got to learn to network and get to know each other and learn how to love again. Okay.
And then we'd love to see you in person. That'd be great.
So, it'll be great to meet you. I can't wait. Okay, so here we go. And always, what are we doing? Listening with
our third ear. Welcome back from the break. Without further delay, let's go ahead and bring our guest Mona Lisa in. Welcome, Mona Lisa.
Hello.
What's that song? Nat King Cole used to sing Mona Lisa. Mona Lisa. Okay, so it's great to have you here.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about your book. Tell us the name and what's going on.
The name of my book is called What's Behind the Makeup. And I desire to write that book. I know God, it's a God thing.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes we spend a lot of energy on the outward. Our hair, getting our face right. But so many times we ignore what's going on the inside.
Amen.
I know I was one of them. For sure. And my predecessors, great on the outside, but oh my God, just falling apart on the inside.
Wow.
And so I know that God inspired me to write it, and then to just open up about some of the things that I had been through.
Right.
And
Who are you, Mona Lisa? Ruth knows you. I don't know you. Who are you, Mona Lisa?
I am Mona Lisa Gill, and I'm from Bakersfield, California, and I am a mother of 10.
Oh, hey!
10 children.
She's got an S on her chest.
Yes, grandmother and now great-grandmother of 2.
Hey, praise God.
But,
and you are gorgeous. I want to look like that when I'm a great-grandmother.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I raised the 9 of those 10 children alongside my late husband, Frank Tucker.
Okay.
And now I'm married to my best friend, Charlene Shanae Gale.
Hi, best friend.
A.K.A. Shaylo.
Shaylo? Did she say Shaylo?
Shaylo.
Hey, authenticity.
Hey,
Okay.
Yes, right.
My little fast niece. Okay.
Right.
All right. So,
I'm an author, and I'm a student, and I love doing the news and features and things like that. So I'm also working on being a freelance writer as well, and my second book too.
And tell them about the things that your daily read on Facebook when you're talking inspirational.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I definitely do have inspirational things that I do on Facebook, and so you can look me up at What's Behind the Makeup, so at Facebook.com, and it's also on Page Publishing, their website, the ones who published the book for me, and and I'm on social media a little bit, not as much as I should, but I'm working it up.
Okay.
So let's talk about what inspired you to write the book.
I know it was a God thing because I needed to deal with some microscopic truth. Because when you don't deal with the truth of who you are, because like she said, Precious said, oftentimes people will tell you who they think you are.
Right.
Because growing up, we were called all these adverse names, these horrible names. But I know that it was a pattern from my mother's father. He called her names that just were not conducive to a productive environment, and was not speaking life but death to her, and so that was the same thing. So generational. And so and then when they tell you that, you grow up thinking I'm gonna be instead of being a lady or a woman of God or precious jewel in his eyes.
Hear those words.
People need to hear this.
Because that's why I have an issue when someone calls you a B. When I hear that word, I have an issue with that. I don't care if I hear it in songs. My wife will tell you, I like to hear rap, but I do not like when you use women in a derogatory way. Use that word because I feel like you're not uplifting.
You know
them.
what's funny?
You're bringing them down.
Right.
That was a term that they used to use for dogs, and now they're using it for women.
Exactly.
Isn't that weird?
Exactly.
And that's what they call dogs.
Exactly.
So,
and it didn't make me feel good at all.
Okay.
Being called those names, and then my brother, because he heard my mother
started using the same language.
He started talking to me and my sister.
Exactly.
When you think the wrong thing is right, you do the wrong thing on purpose.
Exactly.
And because that's all you know.
Yeah,
that's all you know.
That's
and
all
then
you know.
when that's all you know, that's all you want to keep bringing to the table. And as I remember looking back, because I got on drugs and my life was just heading down a wrong path because you don't see yourself like Christ sees you, like God sees you. And it's only until I started seeking Him out.
Yes.
Who do you say that I am?
Yes.
I'm done with people telling me who they think I am.
Yeah, that's right. Call my
I want to
name.
see
Call
who
my
God
name.
says
That's
I am.
right.
When
Yes.
He said I am precious in His sight,
Amen.
a jewel fearfully and wonderfully made.
You better-
and that the heavens rejoice,
Girl,
at
come
the
on
sight
now.
of me.
That's right.
So
I gotta chill.
I told you, girl.
That's right.
And when He sees you in such a beautiful way, you in turn, and He draws you by love, not by hate.
That's right.
That's what
right.
turned me against. Even though I'm a believer, I don't call myself a Christian anymore because I'm a believer because I'm not into religion.
That's right. That's
Mona
right.
Lisa. It has to be a personal relationship.
And
that's right.
And that's what most people don't realize. It is so very personal.
Yeah, it's
when you go there, that's when you can see who you really are.
Yes, because I remember calling upon the name of the Lord after some of my friends had died, and I saw where my predecessors were heading, how my mother and my aunties were looking as they got older, and they kept doing those things, and I said, I don't want my children looking at me like that.
That's right.
I don't want my daughters or my sons or my grandchildren. I said, I want something better. So to God, He got Jesus. I know He spoke to me.
Hey,
He called me by name in my room.
That's right.
And He said, I want to charge you. I want to challenge you to become the matriarch that you wanted to see.
That's right.
Be the change you want to see.
Hey.
And that's what we call letting go and letting God.
Letting go and letting God. And He spoke to me. And I had, change is not easy.
That's
Trust
right.
and believe.
It is
so
not.
easy
But
to
it's
say in your man,
necessary.
but necessary.
Yes.
Because if I had not changed, I remember one night I had this dream when I was still in the thick of my mess, that double-mindedness. I want to be over here and I want to be over here.
Yeah.
And I dreamt that one by one, on the street we used to live at, my children were going into a sewer. Oh, and I couldn't save them. I was so devastated. I don't mean to cry, but it's so real to me right now.
Come on, tell the story.
Yes.
If I don't change, this thing is going to keep
on going.
Keep
That's
going.
right.
And my one baby, it just really broke me down when Alea, she was in there, and I couldn't get 3 or 4 of them had already went in, and I couldn't get her, and she was turned over on her back, and her eyes were rolling in her head. And I was all I could do was get up and just scream, "Somebody help me!
Yes.
Help me! Help my children!"
Yes.
And that's when God started speaking to me. You can help your children because they need to see
the change,
something different.
Yes.
You need to get them away from what you're seeing.
That's right.
And now that child's a biomedical engineer.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying? And 7 of my children have been to the military. And no, they don't always do what you always want them to do, but they're not in prison.
That's right.
And the foundation has been set.
That's right.
And no matter what's going on, the enemy can't take that from me.
And they saw the change, so they know they can make it today.
Yes. And I fought
going on in here today. But see, people say, I don't hear God. That's how God speaks. That's how He speaks. That's how God
clearly speaks to you.
You know,
That's
He
right.
was showing you that road that you were choosing.
Yes.
And our children are vibrationally in alignment with us when they're under our wing and they're following you.
Okay, but
God showed
and you know,
something.
you have to agree that God gave you all of that so that you
So
could be
you
this
could do
teacher
something
today.
about
He
it.
did.
Yes.
Because your testimony is going to shift so many lives right now.
Yes, it is.
People who are having children and not knowing what to do.
What
the exact
to do.
same road.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
Somebody out there is watching this
right
and they're
now.
right where you have been.
Yes.
And look how beautiful you are. And I'm not just saying, you know, there's a beauty, but then there's a light that shines from you. And nobody would ever look at you and see who you were. They see who God did a new thing in. And you know, that is beautiful.
And you know, the thing about it is I've watched her grow. And she said, Auntie, I want to be able to tell my story. And I said, don't worry. I said, one day I'm going to be able to assist you
and get
this platform done. And the thing of it is that every road is necessary. You see, that the thing that we come out of is judgment with our parents. Had your mom and your grandmother not been who they were, you would not be who you are today. And your children wouldn't be who they are today. Because sometimes we need something to shake up, to do a shake up, to make it, to get it all. And it was all good. And when you can realize that, it gives you forgiveness so that your light can shine. Because there's no anger attached.
We having church up in here today,
yes,
y'all.
we
Okay,
are. And you are so correct, Auntie, about that, because it was only until I can forgive everybody else.
If forgiveness is key.
Yes.
It
Number
is an
one.
ankle weight.
Yes.
You can be mad if you want to, but you don't know where it's stopping you from. That is so true. You're speaking a word today. That is the truth.
It will stop your
You said something that was really important to me. You love Christ.
Yeah.
You heard the voice of Jesus speak to you, but you have reservation in professing that you are a Christian. I want people to listen to that because so many times I have a similar story. I love Christ, but when people hear Christian, a lot of times you hear judgment.
Exactly.
And God's love, the greatest gift that God gave is love. And you know, you saying that, it really woke something up inside of me. It speaks to me. And it doesn't mean that you don't love Christ. It's just that the church, this is an indictment on the church. We have to bring ourselves back together so that people aren't afraid, but we got to stop all this hating and judging and separation. God is love.
And what we got to go into memory is God created all of it.
Yes.
See, God didn't just create that building with the church for you to be that preacher and those those Christians. He created all of it. The whiskey, the weed, all of it. He created everything. Now, why am I saying that? Because we're human beings. We're going to try stuff. But when we have someone who's willing to say, I tried it, it didn't work, and I got a new name. God called my name, and I was able to become something brand new. And see, and that's not done in the church. That's done within.
Inside the self.
That's an inside job. And so the forgiveness is extremely important. When I was reading your book and I saw what your story was, because you had never told me, and you said, Auntie, just read my book. And then when I read it, I said, well, I know that story because I had a few of them things happen in my life. Because everybody has been touched. See, people want to act like, oh, it never happened to me. We all go through something. And it's when
I'm on my 5th lifetime. Right?
Girl, I'm on my 20th. And listen,
say that.
I told this girl, I said, there are so many lifetimes, because every time you learn something new, your life changes.
You do.
So today, thank you for being here to change those lives. So tell us a little bit more about what happened with your family and how you decided to write this book.
We all excited up in here.
It started back in 1995 when he first spoke to me. Again, he had been speaking to me when I was a kid and stuff. I knew he was real, and I just refused to believe that he was like people. I didn't care what I was seeing, how they was telling me that God was like this. I just and that also helps you be able to see him clearly.
Right.
So, yes, he was just speaking to me, and he just told me, I need for you to, I didn't bring you out of all of this because of you, because I also know that there are many people out there, but they need to see that there is victory on the other side.
That's right.
A lot of times I didn't believe that I could be changed because I didn't see real, authentic change.
Right.
Until I went to a Helen Baylor's concert. And she talked about being delivered from crack cocaine, all these other things. And then I saw the glory of God on her life. You really need to see this.
Somebody who
has the victory. Yes, to see that it is possible, because so far I had not. And I said, well, I can do this. And I remember just wanting to be clean one day at a time. And I said, God, I want to get to that 5 years. I knew one lady had been clean for 5 years. I said, I want to do it not only for my children, but for myself too.
Yes.
But, and it was a process, because I remember my stepmother got so upset with me because I had her she helped me keep one of my daughters. She said, you need to stop acting like a tramp. Get yourself together. That's not you. I mean, sometimes you need a little harsh word. Because, we just keep on, walking around with these little blinders on. But he also sent people like great social workers. People who were trying to just go. Angels. That's where angels, baby. Yes. And saying that you don't have to be like what you've seen. You can be different. So that was my process. And yes, it was hard because I had to do my little drug counseling. Like I tell people, God has a walk for you to walk. It's like Iyanla Van Zandt. You got to do the work.
Do the work. You
cannot expect change and think that it's going to just happen for you.
Right.
And I always tell people that, we believe God. I said, you can believe God, but you got to walk by faith.
Without work is dead, baby.
You know that.
You're not going to get it. I had to actually raise these children to get a result.
Hey.
I could not just say, I believe
you
God.
couldn't just pray about race.
And some people give them away. And you got to be willing to say, I'm holding on to my babies and we're going to walk it together.
Sometimes it's better to give them away if you acknowledge you're not ready. But if you're ready, you got work to do.
But there's a certain way of giving them away.
Yes.
Giving them away means
responsibly.
Responsibly giving them away.
And
sometimes you have to do that.
I understand it because I know what it feels like to give away a child and not raise it. That's my oldest daughter. I was 14 years old, and I was crazy myself.
Tell the truth. That's
and
right.
And then I know what it feels like
Somebody
to
needs to
give one away and get her back. And
Hey,
that's
right.
That's the one that did 8 years in the military.
That's right.
She was in the Air Force. Her and she was just my hardest pregnancy. And I was like, God, what is this manifestation right here? And then, but she was a tough child to raise. But I said, I would not give up because he said, you'll reap a harvest if you faint not. Now, you don't always, let me tell you something. People don't like to tell the truth about their kids. Sometimes, you know what? Look here. Some of them you just ain't going to be able to talk to all the time.
That's right.
Some of them you're going to have to step back and say, okay, I done had this conversation with you, but we're not going to keep going down this road. But I love you, but I'm going to love you from a distance.
That's right. Got to let it go. Let go and let God.
But you got to acknowledge that they do go through. And we're not going to put everything off on the devil.
Right.
The child made a choice
they make
like
choices.
I did. So they reaping the results
because
from
remember,
it.
the devil don't exist, but choice does.
The choice exists. That's right. So I don't care who do it.
Because who was that? Geraldine said it best. The devil made me do it. No, you made a choice.
You made a choice. And I think that's what's key. And it's like with me and my people didn't understand with me and my wife, Charlene, Shay Loke.
Shay Loke.
We got together, and especially in Christendom. I had never experienced that kind of hate.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God.
But
I now see what people feel.
It's their fear.
I think
their fear.
I think it's a lot of it's internalized homophobia.
It is, but
you
it's
mad
also
at me because you ain't doing what you want to do.
I have to say, listen, there was a talk, and this guy said, we all have male, female in us,
right?
And sometimes when they see certain things and they haven't had a great relationship, and they see that, and they be like, in that decisive thought, a lot of things go on emotionally within people. You can't see what's going on the inside. You see that outside. So they're making choices and decisions based on sometimes their own fears or where they may see themselves landing. But at the end of the day, where you are is where you choose, and it's all good.
But here's the thing, because I don't believe it is a choice. I think that God is love.
No, I'm talking about their judgment is a choice, because God is love. Yes, definitely.
God is love, period. So what could be wrong when two people love each other? I'm talking about love.
I'm talking about when you've been raised where you think there's a heaven and a hell and all this fear-based stuff. Sometimes you get caught up in
right now.
Listen, we've all been to hell at least 3-4 times, but people don't want to talk about that. It's words of manipulation. And many times those words are used to hold you in a certain pattern and a way of thinking, so that it kind of stunts your growth. But when they see somebody who's willing to step out and just be, and it is control. And then when they see someone that say, you know what, I don't care, this is who I am. That's when you letting your God light shine.
Right. In psychology, and when I was going through my master's program, I learned that the process of socialization, I learned it more in depth. There is group. And there's group think. And whenever somebody leaves the group, they're accused of individuating. But something happens with that individual. They either start a new group or join a new group.
There it is.
So they either going to get like you or you're going to get like them.
Exactly.
Be yourself. Because you got to be that whatever group you in anyway.
When you're with yourself, you got to be yourself. And let me tell you something. One of the things that I found that was key for curing all of that is be alone.
And how about mind your own self business?
Take some time and be alone. Be an individual. Choose to put on an awkward looking dress that day or whatever the heck it is, because that's what you want to do. Because sometimes it's okay. It's always okay to be authentically you. And your light will shine, and you will attract all of the people, places, and things that you need. You don't have to look for it. God will send it. But when we're in the group, aren't we? We're in a non-group.
Yeah. We're a non-group.
But when you're in the group, you talking we. But when you know who you are as an individual, you say, I believe that this works for me.
And I found that in this life, it's enough to work on yourself, to not have to be worried about. And to me, I set that as a cue. When I'm worried about my daughter and what she's doing, that's my cue that I'm unwilling to deal with the self in this moment. When I get anxious about my son and the choices that he's making, I use that as a cue to, okay, precious, you're not focusing on you. Pray about that and let that go.
God gave me something this week, and I had Martell printed up for me at the church to pass out, and said, I used to think if I took care of them, I would be okay. But now I know if I take care of me, they'll be okay. You see, because I am that living demonstration of what it looks like. And if I'm not taking care of me, I can't call you raggedy if I'm raggedy.
Exactly.
I can't say you living wrong if I don't even have my life right. We are the demonstration. And so in forgiveness and writing your book, you've allowed yourself to demonstrate to the world.
Yes.
And I'm loving it.
And it's a testimony to your book. What's behind the makeup. This is a part of who you are. You should be allowed to be authentically who you are. Thank God for not just America, but California. Hello. You know what I mean? Because times are changing. So who's your target audience for your book?
My target audience is I'm geared at women mostly. But I'm geared at anyone who feels like they need to become themselves, be free to be who they are, and know that God loves them wholly and completely as who they are. And that is the main goal. That's what I'm after, because when we feel like we have to look for someone else's approval,
that's right,
then that's when we have given our power away.
Yes.
And we can never fulfill all that God wants to fulfill in our lives, because we're so busy worrying about what this person is thinking and what that person is thinking, instead of what he's thinking and what he's saying about us. And that right there is just key for me, because it took me a long time to figure out who I was. Because I remember sitting in a classroom. I didn't even go to college till I was in my 40s, because I didn't believe I can really actually do it. It's just like I hear I heard someone say that you have these inner terrorists. We don't believe that we do, but everybody has them. Where you have secret fears. It's like, for me, for instance, my best friend back in the day, she went to have a simple surgery, a simple minor surgery, and they gave her too much anesthesia, which stopped her heart. And a week later, she had passed away. And so I developed a fear of not ever wanting to be put to sleep in any type of procedure. So I just believe God. I don't have to ever do that. And not long ago, I had to have a simple procedure, and they wanted to put me to sleep. And I was like, oh my God, this is my time. I'm going to confront my fear. Yes. And guess what? I was able. My baby was right there standing next to me. Yeah, it was a simple thing. And the thing about it, they just found some abnormal cells. They were doing a biopsy. So they said, we need to do this. You have to go to sleep. You're not going to be able to handle it. So I just kept talking to myself. It's going to be okay. But, the enemy tried to bring thoughts of, and the enemy within. Bring thoughts of this is you're not going to wake up. Within. Right. You're not going to wake up and this is going to happen. I'm like, you know what? I am not receiving that. All is well. And I'm going to have to do this. This is what I have to do it to get to the breakthrough. So I went through it, woke up, and next my wife was there next to me. But it gave me the victory. And I told my doctor, she said, everything is normal, all is well, so you don't have to worry about anything. I said, but the point is, I walked it through. And I said, God, I thank you for allowing me to get past that fear. Because we don't even believe. And I remember I was listening to Bishop Jakes. He was saying that he thought he was going to pass away at 48 because his father had passed away at 48. And his mom, he said, so I got to run after my life like ain't no tomorrow, because I don't know if I'm going to live past 48. So he gave himself a great party at 49 and 50. But it's the things that we say to ourselves.
I totally get it, because I always had a fear of cancer, because all of the women in our family on my father's side made their transition from cancer. Yeah. So what you fear, you will attract. So I did. I actually lived through it. But in the process, I used all the tools. I prayed and told God, I know you got me. And then I went into my meditation and my visualization. And then I called in all of those ancestors, and I said, today I'm breaking the pattern. Yeah. This will not be something that the women in our family have to continue to go through. And I'm calling you forth to assist me in doing this pattern breaking. And listen, here I am today, 6 years later. They had given me 1 hour to live. And 1 hour to live. My testimony, I'm a living testimony. You understand? And this is what we have to be willing to be. That's why I was so excited about your book, because people are afraid to even hear the stories because they think it might rub off on them. Right. But I hope it does rub off on them so that they can get their healing. You see? Because I'm just serious. Yeah. Because, many times, there's so many backstories. I remember when I read Iyanla Vanzant's first story, and she was authentic and real. Yes. And it woke up some things in my mind, so to the point that I started a circle and started giving them books away, because I wanted every woman to know about it. Right. But the bottom line is facing your fear and doing it. And what's behind the makeup? Yes. You doing it, girl.
Amen. Yeah, I realized that at one point, we just, all three of us got so excited.
Yeah. We like moving and rolling in our seats.
But it's because your synergy that you've brought, your authenticity, you're willing to be transparent. Because sometimes people, it's like your book, Behind the Makeup. They don't want you to see addiction. They don't want you to see struggle. They don't want you to see that, there was a time in your life where you were afraid for your own life and your children. Yes. So out of all of those things that you've been through, do you have any regrets?
My biggest regret is not finding out who I was before I got so many other people into my life. That is my biggest regret, because I enjoy watching my younger children, they're 20-something, and they're enjoying their lives, doing them, but they're finding out who they are first before they try to bring other people into their life. And that was one of my biggest regrets. And another is that just not enjoying and embracing who I was for so long, for who God made me. I think we spend so much time hating ourselves, with self-hate and self-denial, because I watched my brother. Him and my mother, they had this relationship, that was so toxic to one another. You know, and I remember telling him, I said, you're not going to be able to do what mama do. We can't handle what they can handle. We can't put in us what mama and my sister could do. They had a stronger constitution. And my brother, you know, he just kept saying, I know she's wrong, but I just got to keep fighting for her, because he saw my mother being mistreated. So he felt like he had to step in.
Dear Savior.
And in the same time, he was losing his life. And then, so one morning, my mother woke up. They were in the hotel because they always stayed in the hotel room together. She woke up and he was dead in the chair. My brother, he was only 41 years old. And I remember the last time I saw him, he said, Lisa, I'm so devastated, but I'm tired of living. And I had a wife, and the baby died. It was something I didn't even know about him. And he said, I just want to go be with them. And I remember him, and then he had a disdain for my father because of what happened with my mom. But I told him, I said, Bucky, I said, you have to let those things go, because you can be a better father to your daughter. Right. I said, because then she wouldn't have this testimony today. And then a few years later, my mother fell down some steps in one of them seedy hotels downtown. And there it ended all. She hit her head, went into cardiac arrest, and there it all went. You know, so, and then I thought to myself as I watched her take her last breath,
the grace of God.
And I said, God, I thank you for her time here. But then I also felt heaviness, because I said, there's no more chances to get to know your grandkids. There's no more chances here on earth to really, you know, to evolve, like you said, get that good vibration, but I knew that my mother suffered so. Her mother left her. You know, I mean, she dealt with an alcoholic father. She dealt with an alcoholic father who was, you know, had relations with his family member, and they had produced kids that they had to take care of. So it was just this perpetual mental illness throughout the family. So my mother had schizophrenia and bipolar. So, and I understood that how could she love me, because she didn't love herself. You cannot give away what you don't have.
Yes,
and then if she didn't know the love of a mother, even though you have children, does not mean you're going to be a mother.
Amen.
You know, but I am so thankful today, because I know that the Lord was speaking to me. He said, this will be your testimony if you don't stop it. I had 4 dreams that I was going to check out of here if I didn't keep planting a dozen. So we have to watch that. We have to take heed about our life and not squander it so carelessly. And I think oftentimes we don't pay attention to that or the cues.
Yeah, sometimes people will numb out instead of taking heed.
But you know, in your forgiveness for your mother, I want you to remember one thing: bless the womb that you came through.
I do.
You know, because even though, you know, all of those things occurred, remember, everything is created out of the mind of God. And so we bless the womb that we come through. It may not look like a place that we would want to come from, but Jesus was born in a manger. So, you know, so the story goes. So at the end of the day, you made it here. And through the process of watching everything that occurred and that sometimes you had to be a part of, look at where you landed. And look at what you're able to teach now. You see, in God, there is no time. There is no big or small. So we don't know the day or we don't know the hour. But what we do know is we cannot, if we know it, not tell the truth. So you're able to stand to write books and to tell the truth. And it's a necessary thing. It took all of that. If I, you know, when I write my story, girl, when you hear the story of the molestation, all the things that so many people go through. I was molested twice in my life, beaten unconscious and left for dead. Understand one thing, God brought me back. You see, so I could tell some young girl about my story. So everything is important. So when it's a parent who apparently appeals to not have done something, God bless the womb that allowed me to come to this planet so I could be that expression of God today. You see, that allows us to forgive. Forgiveness is so key. We can't hold one little doubt. We can't hold one little speck, like a speck of sand.
And you never know the journey of the Spirit.
That's right.
You never know what your mother and your brother's agreements were with God to come
we
here
do have
and
life
be
agreements.
say and do. And but what a blessing for you to be able to behold and then take away from that a message and a lesson. And thank God that you are blessing people by being here today and sharing. So what about the people out there that want a copy of your book? How can they get your book?
Yes, you can get my book from going to my Facebook page at What's Behind the Makeup, or go to pagepublishing.com and you can order it there. There's a website there if you can order What's Behind the Makeup. And yes.
And you said you were working on a new book. What's that? Can we get a little preview?
The
What's
new
that
book
gonna
is
be
called
about?
Put That Bag Back Where It Belongs.
Which bag?
And I think any bag that you take it on is not your responsibility.
That's right. That's
And
right.
I think it stemmed from me that I tell myself, even though I was 14 years old and I had my daughter, it just didn't give me the right to just hand over the full care of my child to her grandmother. I should have in turn helped her. And then the same way I felt about my stepmother, because I remember when she told me, Lisa, I need you to get your daughter back because I'm going through some things. I'm going to spend time with your father. And so, and as I now being a grandmother who have helped with grandkids and things like that, and hear so many other stories of grandmothers taking the second part of their lives and giving it to someone else and then singing their shoulda, woulda, couldas. I've seen that. Yeah. I've seen that happen. So I, in turn, want to encourage them to, don't only take on what you choose to take on, but don't take on so much, because women are not built to take on that. That's why we have heart disease, stroke, cancer, sickness.
You got to know your limitations.
Disease. Yeah, we take on far too much and we just won't give it back. And we just feel like we have to save everyone. I remember one lady said, she told me, God told me to save my kids. I said, you can't save yourself.
You got to save yourself. They say if the mask drop down, put it on yourself first.
Right.
And and a lot of kids, and this is a good thing you're talking about, because I know so many children and adult children who are blaming their mother right now, their daddy, for everything bad that's going on in their life when they know that they're creating that mess out of their own thoughts and ideas and choices.
The word
and they
is
want
accountability.
And they don't want accountability. They would rather say, if my mama had did this, but you know what? Your mama allowed you to come through the womb.
Right.
And she gave you as much as she could growing. But guess what? You got sense and you got God.
Exactly.
But I love how you took accountability and you said, even though I was 14, I could have done more.
I could have.
You know what I mean? And it must have been some pain that you had to walk through in order to say that statement the way you do now.
And I had to apologize to my daughter.
That's beautiful.
I went to her and I said, you know what? I was not the best parent. I think oftentimes we just don't. I love my father. I thank God for him. And I had to address just some real issues concerning him because he liked to blame my mother. It was just perpetual. And then he told me, I didn't want to never marry your mother. And I said, you know what, Dad, it's okay because I love you and her both. And I thank God for life. But one thing I'm going to do is take responsibility for what I didn't do. I pray for you as your mom. I said, you know what? What I'm saying here is that I needed to do my work.
That's
I thank
your
God
work
for you to pray for me, but I was hungry.
That's right.
Me and my brother was hungry, and we needed you to walk it out.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just her job to do it. We needed both of you. But it's okay because God still provided through other hands. And sometimes you don't need to be raised by certain people.
That's right. Amen. But now remember this, because God, listen, I wasn't always raised by my mother.
Right.
But what I learned as I went into forgiveness of what I thought, because remember, I'm looking through the eyes of a child. Why did she do that? But the things that those other people were able to teach me and give me, she didn't have it in me. I would never have got it.
Everything happens for a
when
reason.
you're going through forgiveness, you gotta peel back the orange layers and look at all the slices
And the reality of
what's really going on.
Right.
Because there are things that it appeared that if you had been with your mother, you wouldn't even be this girl. You wouldn't even be thinking the way you're thinking. You see, if y'all, I'm just saying, because see, there are no coincidences. This script was written, and in the process of realizing as you grow through the script that I can make a change because I got a choice, then that's when the testimony becomes alive and real. That's what Behind the Makeup is. You wouldn't have written this book had some of the other things that you thought should have occurred. You wouldn't be able to write this book about your grandchildren had you not been through. So we thank God for all of it.
All of it.
All of it.
The whole journey.
You know, the whole journey was necessary.
Yes, it was.
And this is so wonderful. So, what do your kids think about your book? What do they think?
Oh, my kids love it. Now,
they've read it.
Yeah.
Okay.
They read the first portion that I wrote. I was attempting to write before 2007, but they inspired me and they encouraged me. Not all of them have read it, but most of them have read it and they have enjoyed reading the story. And then someone was like, okay, they can see me in a different light, because I think the mistake that our children make sometimes, they forget that we're people too. And that we're somebody. I was a woman before I was your mother. Before I was a wife, I was a woman.
Right.
And so you need to understand that. And then we have the right to
one more question. What does your wife think about your book?
What does she think about it?
Huh? I love it. Come up here.
Of course you love the book.
Come up here and let him get a little glance of what, let's see what this couple looks like. Come on up, take them glasses off.
Right. Hi, babe.
So, were you guys together when she wrote the book, or? No gum. She's taking that gum out.
No, Auntie was over here. Get
that gum out.
Yes, we were. We had actually just got together.
Okay.
And I was actually moving into a little small loft from a past relationship. Wasn't no longer together, but we were friends and just helping out. So she got a lot of quiet time, got the book done. And I love the book. I love the person that she is.
That's right.
I love the truth. I love the fact that she take ownership.
Amen.
For her
to
actions.
That. Yeah.
Then and now. And it actually helps me to step up more.
Amen.
So I love it. It's a page turner.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. Thank you for coming up, Shayla. All right, bye. They say deuces.
Deuces.
Okay. So, when will you be back with us? You got to write the other book. Finish up your book. We're going to invite you back.
I'm definitely going to
have you back, and your light. It
precedes you.
So
yes,
brightly.
It does. They say your vibe attracts your tribe, and I think we're from the same tribe.
Yes,
you have amazing energy.
Thank you so much.
And like Shay said, I love your transparency. It's something that a lot of people are lacking. That speaks to your authenticity.
Thank you so much.
And because you have to, people can hold what you've done or who you were over your head. But if you take that back, by telling your own story, you disarm people with the truth.
Yes. And standing in your truth, girl, that will really rock their world, because many people who are talking about what you wrote, they're not willing to do that. But you've shown them today it's okay to stand and you can be anything.
It's empowering.
Because God is everything. Now listen, on March 24th when we have our event, you must come out. Bring your book and mingle so that the ladies can get to know you. It's a good way of networking. Our poster is up. We want you to come out on March 24th. Most of the people that you've seen on our show are invited to be at that event. We want them to come out. We want you to meet them because this is life changing. I want to see women networking and talking to each other and being those rich women that we are, so that the earth can once again flourish with love, because it is called Mother Earth. You see, Jesus came forth through the womb of a mother. You see, people forget mothers are very important. And I want people to remember, this is Women's Month. It's important that if you haven't had a conversation with your mother or your grandmother, learn some of your history, get to know authentically who you are.
Yes.
I think that this is the thing that is very, very important. Yes. And, of course, Precious will have the information about the village that they're taking care of.
Oh, yes.
And you want to do a little shout on that?
Yeah. If you guys are going to be there, we're going to have we're going to be collecting for Bridge to Africa Connection Incorporated. Okay. So, and plus, we just want you to come out. All shapes, all sizes, all colors, all heights, all beliefs, faith. We just want women to come out and celebrate each other on that day.
Because
our sisterhood.
Okay, because you got to remember, we're that spiritual view of what women look like.
Yes.
All colors, all races, every woman, because we are, as Shaka Khan said,
every woman. That's right. That's right. Well, thank you for being with us. Okay, before we forget, thank you. We'd love to have you back. Next week, we're going to have Sonia Marie. This will be her second time coming on from Word Life Astrology. And she is going to help usher in the new spring solstice and tell us what we can look forward to as the planets align and change and the stars align on our behalf. And then just Sonia's a wonderful energy to have back. And as we do every week, we're going to close out the show and invite you to listen with your
third ear.
If
you're not listening with the third ear, you're not hearing nothing. All right.
Okay, thank you again, Mona
You're
Lisa.
so welcome.
So beautiful to meet you. Okay, we'll see you guys next week. Same time, same
third
time.
ear listening.
Yes.
Give
me a hug. How wonderful